Bummer.
Taking my first drive.
Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to the Dirty Derbs Racing YouTube channel. If you tuned into the last video, you had seen that I bought myself a new project car. So this is a 1992 Caprice Classic station wagon that I bought off my buddy Alan in Chicago area. So he's been sitting on this car for a little while, and it turns out it had some history. This car used to be twin turbo LS already, and honestly you couldn't tell. Other than a few things here and there, this thing is basically all factory, all stock. This is a rust-free car, solid car. And I've had it for about a week and a half now, and I have been ordering a bunch of parts and trying to figure out everything that I'm gonna need to put this car together. And I'm gonna try to put this entire car together one day. Now I'm sure I'm gonna be limited from drive shaft, which I do have a drive shaft, but it's for something else. I don't think it's gonna work. But other than drive shaft and I don't know, I don't even know what else, maybe power steering lines. All the guys are gonna come over and we're gonna blast this thing out today. We're gonna pull the S10 out of the garage, give us some room to work, and all the guys are gonna come over here and help me knock this thing out. And honestly, it should be a pretty fun project. All right, so here is the new power plant. This is a Gen 3 6.0 with 862 heads and a stage 2 truck camshaft. Nothing special. And we got a turbo 400, which is a manual shift, and I'm not super stoked about that, but I literally just have this stuff laying around, and I can pretty much make a running and driving car with all this stuff that I have laying around. So, I don't know if the motor mounts are gonna work. These motor mount plates are actually for an LT, so I'm gonna have to drill and tap some holes in this plate if they do work. We're gonna test and see if these will actually line up with the K-member mounts that are in here. And if they don't, and they're not even close, then I have another set of motor mounts that are basically a weld-in style to the K-member. They come with their own tabs for the K-member and their own bracketry. So we're gonna test fit this stuff in there, and hopefully we get this stuff knocked out pretty quick, and then we can just really rock and roll on the rest of the stuff. So this is what we come up with so far. My Temu motor mounts are welded in real great-ish. And then I bought some headers this morning for a A-body something, and they fit pretty good. They're not on right now, but just wanted to get a quick video before we pull this motor back out, finish welding up the rear tab and putting the mounts back in. Got to put the torque converter in, and that'll be it. So the cherry picker's not long enough, and these guys took it upon themselves to rebuild my cherry picker to make it more gooder. They thought I was being sketchy. Real sketchy. Alright, let's go over here. I'll walk through my parts list here. So, for the fuel system, I have spent a whopping $200 on the entire fuel system. This is a diesel sump tank clamper sump McThousand Niner deal. So basically what happens is you hole sole the bottom of the tank, and then this piece wedges inside the tank, and then it acts as a clamp. And yeah, so then you have a bolt-in sump unit. So I ordered a Evo Energy Bosch 044 style pump in line, and then just a push lock line fitting kit. Also came with a Corvette regulator style, so it's also your filter and regulator. Came with all the fittings. All that stuff was like 200 bucks, so not too bad. So we're gonna work on getting that stuff in, and hopefully start knocking some stuff out. All right, so we didn't get a whole lot done on the car the other day like I thought we were going to. It was just kind of little problem, typical, you know, trying to do LS swap in one day. It didn't really work out. So don't judge me. I've done an LS swap in 1 hour and 26 minutes. So, but I haven't even turned on the camera. I've been in like full autograph mode, and I've been ripping for the past couple of days. It's Wednesday, and I think I'm about ready to fire this thing up. So I'll kind of go over everything that I've done, and it's turning out pretty good. All right, so we got face down, rear end up right now. I'm working on a brake line, but this is what we got so far. I know it's a little dark, hold on. So this is what we got so far. I am like pretty much there. I had to use my motion throttle body on this intake. It's actually for the S10, but I'm not ready to put it on yet. So don't mind this truck radiator hose. This thing has mostly been built with truck parts, but I just got to do some tidying up with some hoses, get them all routed and nice and pretty, but it's there. Like radiator's in, some antifreeze is in it. Everything's all together. The headers actually fit. The motor mounts, I'm not sure if... So I just bought some Amazon motor mounts and welded the tabs to the frame. And I had to do that because of the way that the oil pan is and the way that the headers are. So I just made my own mounts to make everything fit, and also the intake. The intake didn't fit the first go around. It hit up there. I had it too tall. So, all right, well, oh yeah, let's go underneath. So, trans is in, cross member's in, O2 sensor's in. I had to go to the junkyard this morning to get shift linkage. That's all hooked up. Back here, not much going on back here. I gotta tighten up some bolts. Oh yeah, I got shocks on. And then we'll go to the rear for my $200 fuel system here. So, I rummaged on Sunday to find every fitting that I could in my box. And this is kind of the junction that I came up with. So, in order to get this thing working, I had to do what I had to do. I will go back and fix some of this stuff, but I was just being cheap and it was Sunday. So, push lock line. I've got this is like a 044 style pump from Evil Energy, and also their clamp, which I need to slide it back. Leash Electronics relay kit, $25 a piece. You guys have to have one of these. This is game changer here. Corvette regulator slash fuel filter, and then just rubber lined all the way up. Oh yeah, diesel sump. Not leaking so far. The blue is just Loctite that I put on the threads. Don't worry about that, but so far it's not leaking. I got to get hose clamps on here. Man, I'm about ready to fire this thing up, I think. So here in the cockpit, look how much dust is on this thing. She nasty. I've got most of the wiring tucked up and everything. And there is a kick panel that goes right here and it covers the computer. These are just my tuning cable wires and also my LCD screen wires I got hanging out. But once I'm done and get this thing fired up, I think I'm ready to put the covers back on and hide all this stuff. And I couldn't be happier with how this thing turned out. I'm not sure where I'm going to put the screen yet. Maybe just up here-ish. I don't know. But, man, I think I'm ready to start it. So I think I'm just going to fire it up, and I'll probably just let it run for like a second. I'll probably check oil pressure, but I need to also make sure that I'm not shooting oil or transmission fluid or anything else all over the floor. So, or gas. That's probably more important. So, all right, well, let's see what happens. Bummer. Well, that didn't work. We'll put it on the charger. So I realized that the tune that was in there, I think it might have been for a 58X Gen 4 motor. So I just flashed in a whole nother tune, and charging the battery up right now. We'll see what happens. Nada. Give her a little gas. Huh. That didn't work either. Okay, I'm gonna let that battery charge up some more and keep hunting for some issues. I know my ground wires are all hooked up and everything like that, so I also have to keep finding something. Maybe the battery's just too dead, but it sounded pretty good at first. It's got no fuel or it's got no spark. Let's see. Map sensor. Map sensor was set to the internal Holley in the computer, and I just changed it to the GM one. Didn't find the correct part number, but GM1 bar. Hopefully it just works. And then I also found a vacuum leak. Let's try it now. Oh, something's happening. Oh, so close. I'll give it some gas. No leaks. So close. Alright, I really need to let the battery charge up. It's so close to firing. Let's let that battery charge. We'll try it again. So while I was letting the battery charge, I got a phone call that my drive shaft was finished. So Sadler Powertrain here in Davenport whipped up this drive shaft for me in about 2 days. So about to slide that puppy in and then see if it starts again. Maybe a different map sensor setting. Anytime I give it any bit of throttle, it doesn't try to fire whatsoever. So it does fire with no throttle. So I think maybe the map sensor, or I don't know. I'll keep trying. Okay, I figured this thing out. I've been cranking on this thing and cranking on this thing. No pun intended there. So I have this map sensor extension harness, and I was able to keep it running a little bit earlier with my foot and just kind of whop, 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 whop. And then while looking at the gauges, I noticed that the map sensor was not moving whatsoever. So check this thing out now. It doesn't idle very well yet, but I can work on that. Sounds spicy. Still doesn't idle, but it sounds spicy. She's open header right now, but we'll get some pipes on here later. This thing's sick. Just a little bit of more throttle blade, reset the TPS, and we're running. we are getting closer and closer. So topping off the radiator with some antifreeze, of course. And then I just went to the shop again, hopefully for my last time. Found a little extension piece for the header, because the O2 sensor on the long tube header is like right here, and you can't have the O2 sensor close enough to the end of the pipe. Sucks in air, reads the O2 reads all goofy. So little extension, header pipe, brake fluid. We just got the brake line on, hopefully for the last time I'll be under this freaking pile. New brake lines on the rear, and I just got to get them bled. So after that, dude, I think we're going for a drive.
Taking my first drive. This thing's so sick. A little bit more exhaust and she'll sound pretty good. It's a little too loud right now. Sounds nasty.
All right, so pretty freaking awesome, not gonna lie. This thing is sick. Couple things we need to address. The transmission was not shifting. For some reason, I've been hanging on to this Turbo 400 for a long time, and I thought it was a manual shift, but it wasn't shifting at all. It was staying in first gear. And it does have the vacuum actuator solenoid on the side of the trans, so maybe this still is a vacuum actuated Turbo 400. So I'm gonna hook up that vacuum line to the intake. The rear brake lines, one of them was leaking out of the fitting, so I may just have to get a whole new line. And I still need a radiator fan. So I'm going to try to tackle this stuff today as soon as I can. I'm playing hooky, so I'm not going into work. I'm going to try to get this thing bombed out, and I could be whipping this thing this weekend, cruising. So one more run to O'Reilly's and Winter Circle. $400 later, we got some MagnaFlow mufflers, some cooling fan, pretty big one, and then some longer 3-inch extension pipes for the exhaust. This thing's gonna sound nasty with these mufflers on here, and I'm not usually excited about mufflers, but I feel like this is really gonna make this thing sound pretty sexual. So slap these things on real quick. All right, we got them rigs mounted up on some temporary clampers. Please sound good. Please sound good. I'm so excited for this.
Oh yeah. Started this thing up and it kind of had a weird knocking noise. I don't know what that was all about. It went away. I ain't too worried about it. But listen to this crap. It does have one of the O2 sensor bungs are open on this side. I gotta get a plug for that. But it sounds badass.
got the exhaust on, got the fans wired up. I'm about to take this thing on its first A to B trip. We're gonna head to the shop, and on the first test drive, I went around the block and went down the street and back, and it was awesome. Floats obviously like a couch because it is a couch, and except for the rear end. The rear end kind of felt like it was gonna fall out. It's pretty squirrely when you get on and off the gas. So I went under there and tightened up some of the 4-link bolts and everything. So hopefully, I don't know, we might have to replace some bushings. But so I've got some essentials for your first drive. Cold snack, snack stack. That's for spicy stuff. Hopefully we don't ever need that. And got the laptop, of course. So I think we got all the ingredients. So we about to hit the road. Oh yeah, on my last test drive, the transmission did shift. So I just hooked up that vacuum line and it worked. So best case scenario, I thought this was a manual shift trans. Oh, this thing sounds so good. Needs a bath today. This thing is so cool. It drives so nice. The alignment's good. There's no noises, it's perfectly smooth. Oh yeah, this car's got 114,000 on it. The rear end does feel better after I tighten that stuff up too, so this thing's so cool. I'm stoked. So the first drive to the shop went flawless. Man, this thing rips, it sounds good, and I just can't wait to like get this thing cruising down the road with a bunch of buddies in it, or the family. The girls are gonna love it. So we're gonna put it up on the lift. I gotta zip tie some fuel lines up out of the way, and then plug a O2 sensor hole. I had to put a couple of bolts in that I was missing. So yeah, we're just gonna tidy this thing up and get some good videos of it cruising down the road doing some burnouts. Alright, so if you take a good look at my undercarriage here, see I've got my mufflers and my MagnaFlows. And none of this stuff is obviously permanent. I'm just trying to get this thing driving down the road. So I'll build some more exhaust that'll go out towards the rear end. I don't know if I'm gonna go up and over the rear end, but I'm for sure gonna bring it back a little bit further, put some dumps on it. And I just got to tidy up some stuff like this. This fuel line fell down. Needs to be tucked up there with a zip tie. We got this O2. That was when I started the car up earlier and it like made a knocking noise. It was actually that. So it just sounded real weird when I first started it. So yeah, this would not be a proper Dirty Derbs build if it didn't have leaking rear main seals that are brand new. So that's always fun. Whatever. So, all right, I'm just gonna tidy up this stuff and get this thing back down. right, guys, that's pretty much it for this video. I appreciate you guys hanging out and watching it. And the car runs, it drives, it sounds amazing. I don't even think the cameras do it any justice, but this thing is a real head turner. I think just because of how clean it looks, it kind of catches people's eye, but once they hear it, they do a neck snap, and it's comical. But this car is an absolute riot. I think the next couple things of the car is I need to get some wheels established. I was gonna go get some hubcaps in Chicago, but turns out that's gonna get delayed a little bit. And then I actually blew out a rear tire yesterday, so I need to pull the trigger on, do I roll with the hubcaps or do I buy something like, I think torque thrust are kind of fitting for this car, or some gold 24-inch Ruchis, because that's kind of what I have in mind. And I'm not even playing. I have to have a car on wheels. I've been wanting a big wheel car for a while. I've built so many, and I've never had one, and honestly I want one. Kind of controversial, I would think, but man, this thing on gold wheels would be sick. So I'm looking, I'm searching Marketplace to see what I can find. I can find some for around $3,000. It's not ideal, but that's pretty cheap for like a really nice set of wheels. So I don't know. What do you think I should do? I think I want to do 24s. They don't necessarily have to be gold. They can be polished. Maybe nitrous. That would be pretty sick. And then, man, I think we are going to do 6 Smokies in Tennessee area, October. So that's going to be a super long road trip, and this is the perfect car to do it in. So I don't know. Tell me what you guys think I should do with the car. It has real nasty burnouts. It's really snappy. It's pretty quick for what it is. So, all right. Well, that's it. I appreciate you guys watching. Like, share, subscribe. We're almost to 10,000. We're at about 8,500 subscribers right now. I've been doing the YouTube deal for 2 years, I think. About 2 years. So I think we're doing pretty good. So, all right, guys. Thanks. I'll see you later.